by
Discover your Daraj.
Presenting Love, Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic edition of Sitback with Shaq and Anu. It is a Monday evening and we're coming to you live on Channel 1 Dialogue TV and of course our YouTube platform, PodHub. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. As always, bringing in some fantastic guests on the show Monday to Thursday, talking about current trending topics and of course a diverse set of individuals get into our studio. We allow them into our studio. Good night.
Now what? Anyway, I just wanted to say, just mentioning out there, my son turned 11 on Saturday.
Happy birthday.
I had a wonderful little party for him and fantastic. I may have communed with the spirits.
Yeah. Usually Monday shows are all about Anu's and his spiritual encounters over the weekend. Yeah.
Has been very good to me.
All right, thank you so much to our sponsors on the show. Daraj is on the show with us and Uber Eats. Thanks so much, guys, for being a part of the show. Lots to talk about with two fantastic individuals who've done something that not many Sri Lankans would dare to do. And we'll talk all about it in just a few minutes.
And as always, we do have...
You forgot that. you tried to slowly get away, but you forgot that.
Human error. Anyway, we do have the poll as always. And of course, the poll is geared to what we're going to talk about today. And it's a very interesting topic because... I don't know, you'll find out for yourselves the moment you answer. And we'll get into that right after these messages from our sponsors.
Welcome to the universe of Daraj, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraj.
A meal isn't just food. It's hope, nourishment, and love. And right now, we need it all. Presenting Love, Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need. Send preset ration packs on Uber Eats, and we will match every donation and deliver it with love.
And we are back, and today's poll is quite simple but effective. Here it is, you see it on your screen right now. It's a yes or no answer as always. Would a travel video inspire you to travel to that destination? Yes or no answers only. Please WhatsApp your answers to our hotline number 07766911590. And at the end of the show, we'll tell you exactly how the responses stand. So, for instance, to ask yourself, have you seen any kind of travel video, not just in Sri Lanka, anywhere in the world, that made you really want to go there?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about travel and, of course, traveling in Sri Lanka. We're talking about two individuals who obviously traveled the length and breadth of Sri Lanka, making fantastic videos. And the whole idea is to inspire. The question for you out there, everybody, we have so many people actually watching us on TV right now. Would it inspire you if you actually took a look at a travel video to actually go to that destination? We'll speak to Shenelle and, of course, Sheehan?
Yeah.
Got it right? Shenelle and Sheehan in the studio with us.
It's a tongue twister,
Yeah, it is actually. I don't know why it should be one though.
Yeah, no, I think it's the spelling. But because it's a double A, and some people mistake that with E.
Yeah, how did you manage to have two E's instead of two A's?
I have no idea. A lot of people say it like that. I think it's autocorrect also maybe.
Yeah, that's the worst. Two fantastic content creators in the studio, and if you haven't actually seen the viral video, the trailer that actually went viral all over Sri Lanka, especially on Instagram, we're going to play that for you in just a few minutes. But before we get into that, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Cool to be here after watching the show and really walking in here and see
how it works.
How it works, yeah.
Let's just leave it. Let's leave it at
No,
that.
we keep it at that, yeah.
No, but it's really cool for us to have you guys on the show because, you know, we love what you do. And really, I think it really works, you know, as far as, because what you're doing is actually destination branding.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the kind of thinking and communication that really works. Because, you know, you can say, I mean, okay, tourist board or the ministry can, you know, or the country, the government can have a standpoint and say, okay, we're going to brand it this way. But, you know, nothing like real people doing real things. You know, so like I say, always talk. You know, someone telling you and recommending, saying, you know, you got to go here, got to have this kottu, got to drink this plain tea. You really want to do it.
Yeah.
That's
Word
true.
of mouth is
Absolutely. So no amount of advertising can get that, you know.
And considering the number of travel brochures that we've seen in the past many years, how many times can you actually see the beach? How many times can you see the tea estates? You know, how many times can you see Sigiri, for God's sake? You know, I mean, that's all you get to see, right?
I mean, if you've seen it once, what's going to invite you to come again?
Exactly. So that's what we're going to talk about. So before we get into the intricacies of the conversation, first tell us, this is Sri Lanka. How did it start?
Do you want to start?
You start, go for it.
So this is Sri Lanka, started many years ago. This is actually our third campaign for This is Sri Lanka. And it started in 2019. Sheehan and I had just left our jobs at the time, and we were in a position of like not really sure what we wanted to do, but we knew we wanted to create something. We knew we wanted to do something we liked, as well as be independent, I think.
Yeah.
Location independent.
At the time, the word was location independent.
That was the key.
We had just done a trip to Thailand and sort of explored for the first time outside of, you know, normally when you go with a bunch of friends.
Correct.
And you don't really explore. You're just with your friends, you have a party.
Or when you travel,
this was the first time.
Alone,
And it's usually also on the beaten track. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So this was the first time we did it off, and just the two of us. And it really inspired us to look at different ways of living. And so that was
the first thing.
the first seed, sort of.
And I think one thing we also thought was that we like travel, and we want to kind of share about traveling and places to travel.
Right.
In a slightly more deeper sense than that we felt was being covered, like by. You want
to answer like the poll from our point of view.
Let's not talk about it.
Oh, okay. We can't talk about it.
We'll
actually at the end we'll ask.
Right. Yeah.
We don't want to influence individuals.
Okay. Sorry, influence them. Okay. So let's put it like this. Let's put it as we saw the sort of content. Now we were just getting into this space as trying to be content creators.
Right.
And we were trying to do it internationally. But when we came home, we saw, hey, this is back in 2019 or 18. When Sri Lanka was at the peak of this, like, you know, number one travel destination and all of this.
Major traffic.
And we looked at the content online and it was all so superficial.
And
in
somewhat
the sense,
damaging also in certain sense.
it was all foreign travel bloggers who were here who,
you have really beautiful, like, cinematic content made by these amazing creators who come and visit Sri Lanka because it was a top trending destination. And what you happen to get is just a beautiful, like, superficial piece of content that says, yeah, Sri Lanka is beautiful, come. But nothing about why it's special, or like, yes, I climb Sigiriya, but I climb Pidurangal, that's better because it's 2 rocks and 1 is free.
Right.
So then when you start to see stuff like that, you realize, oh, there's a big disconnect here. What the tourist board is doing, that just generally overarchingly kind of helps people to know what and where Sri Lanka is. But there's a disconnect between what we know about Sri Lanka as locals and people who have studied the history, and when we travel, the awe and like amazingness that we see, that was not being translated to the foreign travelers.
Right.
So that's where we kind of thought, hey, what if we covered as much as we could? And from our perspective as just 2 young people who are discovering our own island, share it in English so that travelers can also get that very insight. And then we had all the doubts, like, who would care? Why would, like, travelers want to hear 2 local people? They'll probably think that we were, like, you know,
paid to do it
or influenced or something.
Vested interest, kind of.
Vested interest, correct.
Right.
And there were a lot of that, and why, like, in English, really, like, if we did in Sinhala, we'd have way quicker, faster growth.
Right.
So there were all these things, but we anyway wanted to travel around Sri Lanka.
Right.
And like in about 30 or 40 days, and we still had that craze back then, and we thought, you know what, now we're back. we have, like, we've studied, we've had our experience. Let's just do this 1 month trip while we're jobless right now and make the content and put it up. And if
then
it
we were
doesn't,
ready to almost
we were
go back into
let's just spend
corporate.
all of the money that we have on it. And if it doesn't work out, we'll just go back to like getting a job or something. But the thing is, we really didn't want to go back to get jobs, so we like threw all of ourselves into it. So that was the first trip that we went around the island, and
then
Was that on bicycles or no?
we actually rented a
Hilux. At the time, what we wanted to show, because there was so much hype around Thailand and Bali, and the budget for a budget traveler at the time was $600 to $700,
Right.
and no one had showed what you could do in Sri Lanka. So we set out with $700
At that time?
At that time,
Okay.
700 each.
Okay.
We rented a Hilux and we showed our entire trip, documenting every cost right around the island, and showed how we did that whole trip in 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah, it was 22 days or something.
Right. Okay.
And documenting all the costs and like what kind of experiences you could have here in Sri Lanka.
For that price.
For that
Because we got the idea, because I think we had traveled to Bali as well. And we were thinking, we made a video on how much you can do in Bali with $500, how long. And we were like, there's no content like this made for Sri Lanka yet. So,
Right.
Absolutely.
so that's when we started it. And it just so happened that like, as it came out, it was also the time of the Easter attack.
Okay.
And it was a coincidence in the sense that for us it was not so successful. We thought it was not so successful. We were like, who is going to want to travel to Sri Lanka
in
right when
this
this
atmosphere.
happened? But we still went out and put it out.
We
because
changed
thought-
the narrative a bit.
Yeah, we were like, there's
immediately.
nothing good about Sri Lanka at the moment. Let's just push just the content we've had. Let's just push it out there.
And we made it positive. When everything was negative at the time, we made it positive. And we realized that was the point we realized, like, oh wow, there is this, like, we can do this because we are going to be, because of our passports, we can't really jump from country to country like every other traveler. So even if we go to Thailand and then we want to go to Philippines, we still have to come back to Sri Lanka, get your passport stamp again, and then go.
So technically we're like, oh, it kind of works because our core will always be Sri Lanka, because we'll anyway have to go back to Sri Lanka for a month to renew visas.
Yeah.
So let's just do Sri Lanka, and then we will go maybe like a month abroad. That was the game plan.
Right.
So
In
what was the
2009.
medium you chose? You put this up on YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube from the start, yes.
Right, okay.
So Shenelle was anyways on Instagram before that.
Yes.
And that's where we first understood that people enjoy this sort of thing. We were just sharing stories of our travels around Thailand and Vietnam and things like that, and people were very interested in that, to the point where they asked us for like itineraries, how do you guys do it, budgets,
and,
things
all
like
these
that.
things. So we were like, hey, maybe we could put this all in a video and put it up. People will be interested.
Right.
So
Okay.
that was the first edition of it.
Interesting. Now, of course, now the third edition is done.
Yes.
Yep.
Right. And what we're going to watch right now is a trailer video which has gone absolutely crazy, and I think this is the first time it's going to be played on TV.
Yeah.
And it's on national TV right now.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
yeah, it's gone crazy on Instagram for sure.
Yeah.
Right? It's gone viral on social media.
We'll just like saying that was national TV.
It sounds good, yeah.
Oh, Kata karne ka main dekha national TV.
How many people can say that? How many people can say that?
Why is it national TV?
So we're going to watch this on national TV. Take a look at this fantastic video, some great shots. We'll talk more with our guests right after this.
What is really going on in Sri Lanka? Is it safe to travel? Can you travel?
My name is Shenelle,
And my name is Sheehan.
and we are going to be cycling 1,700 kilometers around Sri Lanka to answer those 3 questions for you.
I'm sure you've heard about Sri Lanka in the news lately. But here on this channel, we have always shown you the best that Sri Lanka has to offer. But you're wondering, how bad is it really? And will I be safe as a traveler in Sri Lanka? Things have got tough for those on the ground. But the people and the places remain unchanged. Resilient, innovative, beautiful, and forever welcoming. So over the next 30 days, we are going to be able to show you the real state of affairs on the ground here in Sri Lanka through a one-of-a-kind fundraising series, which is gonna help us to show you Sri Lanka and help you explore it like never before, but also give you a chance to help her in her greatest hour of need.
But it's not all doom and gloom. We've traveled around this island long enough to know that Sri Lanka still has so much to offer to the world, and we plan on showing you just that. So hit that subscribe button, share this video, and get ready, because this is Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So, right, just what you saw just now on national TV was the first video.
Yeah, the campaign launch.
Yeah.
This is not what we were talking about just now.
Yeah.
So now you will see on national TV.
The real video.
The real video.
It's on now.
All I could think about was, will I be able to do it? How hard will it be? Will we be taking too much time? It was all these kind of questions of whether I could physically do it.
Sorry guys, we're just so exhausted, we don't even know where to start.
Sri Lanka is
Sri Lanka,
as the country's economic crisis deepens.
but it's not all doom and gloom. We've traveled around this island long enough to know that Sri Lanka still has so much to offer to the world. So, without further ado, this is Sri Lanka.
Whether you're a budget traveler, whether you're a high-end traveler, it doesn't matter, because you see a different part of Sri Lanka which you wouldn't see by traveling on the road.
நான் இலங்கையிலேயே நம்பர் 1 கம்பெனியாக இருக்க நான் ஆசைப்படுறேன்.
How's the trip been so far?
Fantásticas.
The people are so kind, the food is amazing, the scenery is amazing. If I had to try and put all of that into one word, I would say vibrant.
Okay.
I'm going to go for beautiful and tasty.
And that's what this series has always been about. Everything, like all these corners, little pockets of the island that we don't see or even hear of, all of that combined is what makes this Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right one.
That was awesome, you know.
That really
And a
was.
fantastic
Thank you so
edit
much.
too, by the way.
Thank you very much.
How did you, I mean, some fantastic shots.
Yeah.
Some great drone shots there.
Yeah,
So what were you doing? Riding a bicycle and operating a drone at the same time?
Well, no, actually, if you look at it, like some of the shots, I would cycle ahead of Shenelle about a kilometer ahead. And if I see the opportunity, I quickly like get set up and fly the drone.
Right.
And then I get shots of Shenelle. But like some things, we've done this trip twice before.
Right.
We know the island pretty much, right? So
Right.
when we are approaching these areas, in the back of my mind, I know, okay,
You know
there
the
is,
perfect setting is-
I know there is this shot that we can get. So I'd either tell Shenelle, okay, go stop, and then send the drone up and everything. But yeah, it was pretty crazy because we were literally carrying only 3 bags on our bikes, and it was just the 2 of us.
Yeah. And Sheehan had like 5 pieces of clothing.
Everything else was
He
like
had
the
to
lenses
sacrifice
and-
more clothing every time he'd pack his bag. It's too heavy. I need to get rid of more clothes because he
Yeah.
had the drone and the lenses and all these things in there.
Yeah, it
Poor
was,
guy.
Because, but I mean, you know, there have been other people who've done this cycling,
Right.
but I don't think anyone has ever cycled and filmed it.
No,
like,
I
yes,
don't think
in
so.
4K.
No, no.
So that was really the challenge for us, and we were trying to make this series. So this is actually the campaign trailer.
Right.
But this is it's a 15 to maybe even 20 episode series that goes on our YouTube channel.
Right.
And right now we have 4 up at the moment.
Yeah. So we edited 4 and did it while we were
On
cycling.
the road, yeah.
Wow.
Till we gave up.
So that was another underwear missing, basically. Underwear kind of thing.
No,
What?
he cycled with a backpack on, sir.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was yeah, we just put on all these things and we didn't really think much. We were just like, let's just go and get it going, and then played it as it
Talk
was.
us through the planning process. I mean, what did you have to get in order before you set off on something like this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like
so
a major production when you think about it.
yeah,
It's like on-the-go production.
Yeah, and you know, and the thing is, you got to cycle there as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Nobody's
think,
going to drive
and,
you, so you got to
and the
plan
thing
it.
is, also at the same time, you need to think of the shot.
Yeah.
You think of what you're going to do. You think as to where you're going to do it.
yeah, the history, the context of what you're going to be talking
Yeah,
about.
absolutely. Yeah.
And the ride in the scorching sun at the
Yeah.
same time.
But actually, in total, how much content do you have? How many hours?
TVs.
2.5 terabyte.
Okay.
That's not much.
How much at all?
Not much at
Yeah,
all.
so
But I
we,
do think that the fact that we have been doing this now for about
Yeah.
4 years, and the work that we have done with the hotels, and a lot of run and gun work we've done with like Great Amazons, which is like a ladies triathlon kind
Right.
of thing. So we've been run and gun filming for the
For-
past 4
that's
years.
all we do.
That's all we do. Our gear is purchased according to that, the correct weight, so that Sheehan can carry it. Everything is light
Everything
and
we
agile,
own.
and we know how to use it now.
Yeah.
So Sheehan will stop and say, okay, I'm going to get a drone shot of you here. Once you're done with that, I will drone that way. You will have to get the camera and shoot out. So there's like a
Yeah.
we have
there's
a
like
process.
a
that we know.
process, and like
Nothing
there.
like trial and error. You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think that's
and
the
like-
best kind of thing to do.
And we're
Only
thing we did. But there's a lot of some synchronicity between us and how we work now. So that's one thing that helps
Right,
with that.
of course.
for sure.
Yeah,
Of course.
and then the other thing being that we're also very much used to filming without a script. Most of our work is without a script. Even here, we knew we wanted the song.
Right.
The song had a lot of feeling that we knew, like in this moment, it was what we wanted to kind of portray. So we spoke to the guys, Minesh and Maki, and we told them, guys, look, we want to do this song. We don't know what we're going to do.
Yeah.
But the whole time, like, we had a list of shots that we were just shooting. Like,
Sometimes we're just chilling and we're like, so this part of the song where he says this, what would be the right shot for this?
Yeah.
I think we
Yeah.
still haven't found the shot for many rivers to cross. Like we would talk about it and like kind of make plans
Yeah.
to get it.
Yeah. But the whole time we were still filming the main series.
Correct.
That is what's like super tiring, because it's like 15 to 20 minute episodes, and
Yeah.
you need to like do a lot of research on these places.
Yeah.
And how were you doing that? Like while on the journey? Or
No,
did you
so
do
that sort of stuff
Right.
everything. So we work off like a board where we like, as we start a campaign, we just start with one blob. And then that just splits, and if you look at it now, it's just like
A spider web,
a
yeah.
spider web of like different things. So we know that okay, when we are going to be in Nigambo, these are like options of stories that we can cover on.
Yeah, but there were a lot of
Um,
times where we got to a place and someone in that area would message us on Instagram and be like, you have to come and try this best biryani in Ampara. So then he took
Yeah.
us and went to try this place. So you would bump into like a lot of gems like that.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of
Yeah, play a
And you
sort of
go
play.
with it. This
You
is
go
what-
with it.
whatever
Yes.
you plan.
We wanted to have a lot of instances where we would meet locals
Absolutely.
from the area who would be
Absolutely.
like, come and try this or do this.
Yeah. That kind of authenticity you can't really
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
so we
fantastic.
had the
Room for
main
it,
themes that we knew we were going to talk about, and we were like trying to get the best shots and the best story for it right around. But then everything else is just like, even we didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
we also had the plan, like a backup, like okay, if we can't cycle and something goes wrong, we just take our cycles and put it on the train and go from place to
Right,
place. Like
right.
that's how far. We had no idea what to expect, honestly.
And how arduous was the journey? I mean, how often did it rain? And was it too scorching of sunlight that you couldn't possibly cycle at that point?
Yeah, why don't you go for that?
To be honest, it really wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
Okay.
And
Just to be clear, I kind of like pushed her into this. I was like, we're doing this. So she was at first, she was like, I don't want to do this.
No, I was not like averse to the idea. It's like one of those things that like, yeah, I would love to cycle around the island someday.
Absolutely.
Not
That's
next
a lovely,
month. You know?
That's a lovely back burner thought.
Yeah.
All of us have it.
The thing with Sheehan and I is I have lovely back burner thoughts that I really want to do.
Yeah.
But I would never put myself, like I would never do things and put myself to like, make that situation happen to me faster. Sheehan will be like, we're going to go skydiving in Dubai. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how about the next time we go? So this was one of those things where he was like, we discussed the idea, and I was very much a part of the idea where I was like, yeah, we could do this, and who needs that? We can just carry a little bit of clothes, and I was very much a part of that process. And then the next day he told me, okay, so we're going to do this. We're going to go back to Sri Lanka and we're going to ride our bicycles around Sri Lanka. So let's go. We're going to go shopping for bicycles. And I'm like, what? Are we really doing this? I thought we were just talking. So there are things that happen. So I think he's like, proactiveness to get something done is what
helps.
It helps to actually get the things that you keep in the back burner and think so nice like that.
So actually practical problems.
Hang on, Anu, I think there's a question coming from one of our viewers.
So Trishan takes precedence over the co-host.
I'm sorry, Anu.
Sorry, Trishan, nothing to do with you.
Nothing personal.
While cycling through Sri Lanka, what did you find to be the most challenging?
Most challenging.
I think the most challenging was cycling without for me. Cycling without electric at like 11, 12.
Yeah, definitely.
There were days we did 120 kilometers.
Wow.
And we aren't really professional athletes or anything.
Nor are we fit by any sense.
So we were like
we
training.
haven't cited a gym in
before we
now you can.
We are a little better now.
bit better, yeah. Before we started the series, the maximum we had cycled on one day was 30 kilometers.
Right.
So I told Shan like 30 plus the 40 on electric. We are not doing more than 70 a day. I said I refused. When he told me I had to do 120, we had a huge fight. I was like, are you crazy? I'm not cycling 120 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's after 40 with electric. That's still like another 60 odd. So
yeah. But that was like, that challenge really sort of like, that really helped us. That was from Mannar to Jaffna, and that was like not even midway series. But once we accomplished that, we knew, okay, everything else is less than this now. And so we like had the confidence, like, okay, we can do this. Like we were, until we did that, we were very like,
that was one of the challenging things. But I think like generally fitness-wise, it wasn't like as challenging as you think, because once you get to that point where you have the fitness to do 30 kilometers a day, from there onwards, that's where I felt like we reached that, now we can just, cycle and like it'll just get us somewhere. You're not like panting and tired.
Right.
So it's closer to get to that than you think, and once you do that, you're kind of safe. I can cycle more than 30 a day. Yeah. You can push yourself a little bit, and you have the electric as well. So.
And we also planned this whole campaign to do it electric, so that it's less of a, even a tourist, anyone can really do this on electric.
Right?
40 kilometers on electric is like effortless. It's that remaining 20 kilometers that can get really tough.
Right. Yeah.
But we wanted to show that Sri Lanka can be cycled on an e-bike and very comfortably.
Yes.
Of course, we really pushed it, trying to do the whole island and within a set time and stuff. But part of that reason was that, so like it's actually effortless if you plan it really well to only do 40 kilometers a day.
Yeah.
Or you have a backup vehicle that brings an extra battery for you.
Right.
But for a tourist, a travel agent can arrange that, and that can.
But then immediately your costs go up quite a bit.
But for a tourist, it won't. They'll prefer. They might. There are the adventure tourists, which is also another market I think that we haven't really been thinking about for Sri Lanka.
So.
Yes.
Sorry. Interesting fact. 1,500 kilometers. Actually, this should have been the poll.
Okay.
How much do you think we spent on electricity per bike? We monitored it with like a little meter, how much we were using to charge it.
Okay.
Take a guess. How much do you think we spent?
1,500 kilometers.
Yeah.
Even the current, before the rates went up, no?
Yeah, the rates effectively went up only like a few days back, right?
September, right?
Yeah.
Right, so I'd say, I don't know, $2,000?
About 5,000?
Right. 1,037 rupees.
That's it?
Yeah.
For 1,500 kilometers?
Yeah. 0.69 rupees per kilometer.
Oh, kidding.
Yeah. Crazy, right? And think about that in terms of, from a tourist point of view.
Yeah.
Travel agent. You don't have petrol in the country. That's fine. You've got an infrastructure of e-bikes.
Yeah, you can move around anywhere.
Entire tourism zones could still function. Gauls, we did Gaul towards the end.
And while cycling through it during sunset, I was just thinking to myself, why has nobody ever thought of just putting a bunch of e-bikes in here and letting people get on the bike and go around, because I saw in, I think, that 1 hour that we were there, more of Golf Fort in 1 hour than I had like in all my trips there. Because when you come there, you get off and you just walk, and when you're walking it's hot, and you know, you get in a vehicle and try to go around, then your vehicle gets stuck in a corner. And so many tiny little alleyways, so many old buildings you never see because you're on a bicycle, barely using any energy when you're using electric. And it's just such a great experience. In fact, I hate to, like, I don't want to say this because, you know, it's very convenient and easy to take your vehicle into the fort. But the fort would make a lovely cycling only zone.
Ideally it should be.
It should be.
It's just a nightmare.
And if you think about it, the vehicles are Sri Lankan vehicles, right? And this is supposed to be a tourist zone, So ideally, like, you know, like many other tourist cities, it
unless
should
you're
be
someone
kind
who
of
lives in the fort,
blocked off.
And lots of people drive, like Magamarua travels, you know. So I know what you mean. So could you just take us, Sheehan, through the route that you...
So we did Colombo, Negombo, Negombo, Chilau, Kalpitiya, Putlam, Vilpattu, Madavachiya.
You actually went into Kalpitiya and came back again? Wow, that's crazy.
That was a tiring one.
That was a tiring
I can imagine. You went to Kalpitiya and you came back out again.
We stayed in Puttalam that night though.
No, we stayed 3 nights in Kalpitiya before.
Yes, and then when we came back, we stayed in Puttalam. We didn't come back and then leave immediately because it's actually, you know, it looks tiny, but it's about 30 kilometers.
It is quite,
on that thing. It's quite a bit of distance.
But it was fun. I think it was
that was
great...
our first harsh one.
Because
that's where we got caught in the sun.
But it was also a great destination to showcase for this series. Because it is a very sustainable sort of model there, at least still. Not too many big hotels, and relatively all those excursions and activities can be done even if you don't have fuel or electricity. So what we thought is, hey, at the time we were doing this, we didn't know what was going to happen. We were planning for like doomsday. So we were like, okay, let's think of all the fallback sort of. You know, what if we don't have petrol for 3 or 4 months? How can tourism then function?
And how can we spin it? How can we market it as still a destination that you can come to? Because there are people out there who don't need electricity.
For sure.
They in fact would prefer it.
That's right.
Everyone's complaining, saying, you know, there are power cuts during the daytime, but what they don't realize is from a tourist point of view, they're not in their room.
They're in their room.
They're out.
They're only going to come to their room to sleep most of the time.
I think, you know, having proper internet is far more important than a power cut.
That is so true. That is so true.
Okay, so Malan.
Malan. There's an English cricketer, David Malan.
What's Shenelle and Sheehan's favorite food? Is it kottu?
Sheehan actually hates kottu.
You travel around Sri Lanka, do you?
Including that last piece of, you know,
apparently had so much kottu in his childhood that he can't stand it now.
No, I mean, not that I can't stand it. It's just I prefer to go for like India or something like that. But favorite food? For me, string hoppers in the morning after a ride.
Kottu is not my favorite food, but I definitely like it once in a while. It's very heavy.
That brings us to a very good question that's basically based on that. What was like the food that you had on the road? The different type of food that you don't necessarily get in Colombo?
Because I personally feel now that kind of cuisine from different parts of Sri Lanka is also another selling point.
Of course.
Definitely.
Your average rice and curry is made so differently on each coast. And that alone is a great experience. But then of course when you go north, you have the northern cuisine, which is slightly different, and you get to try some of these interesting things that are very Sri Lankan. It's not Indian. It's not South Indian at all. It's very unique just to Jaffna and the Jaffna culture and that food. So this time we got to try a few of those things, which is very, very cool. And for a foreigner, what a even more diverse experience. You're coming to a country and not trying just one fabulous cuisine. There's like more. And then on the East Coast, you have some fantastic night food, like street food vibes.
The East Coast is amazing.
And South Coast, better than Colombo for all the cafe food. So Colombo.
Yeah, which is a given. I think Colombo folks drive down south.
Exactly.
You know?
So yes, you're absolutely right. The food experience alone is such a great experience for a traveler.
Absolutely. And the thing is, most of the time, මේක කටට දැනෙන රහට වඩා හිතට දැනෙන රහක්.
Exactly.
So which is also what works,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because there is a mindset that you
Yeah.
go in, and if it ticks that box,
Yeah.
man, your kata raha can't match up to that.
True, very true, you know. And I also think that, you know, perhaps something we could look into in terms of like marketing rice and curry.
Yeah.
You know, when you're a foreigner and you hear rice and curry, even as an itinerary planned every day, you're just like, oh, I don't want to have rice and curry
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
But really, rice and curry everywhere is so different,
Yeah.
you know. And but sadly, it doesn't convey that message.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
They
a
did
lot
that-
of
they did that video about the pole sambol, no? In
Yeah.
search of the perfect pole sambol, and how, like 100 different varieties of pole sambol.
Yes.
So this series I did in search of the perfect biryani.
The best
Oh, wow.
biryani challenge.
Yeah.
The best biryani challenge around the country.
And where was it?
It was,
According to you.
according to me, unbiased without like the hotel. So the thing is, we were also partnered with some hotels.
Right.
Right. Okay.
So we tried their
were also
biryanis.
having hotel biryanis and then, you know, street side shop biryanis.
Right.
And obviously, there's a huge difference because the
Of
price
course.
point.
So there are two winners.
So there are two. But I would say street food, it was in Kilinochchi. And at the day we were there, again, we had cycled 80 kilometers from Jaffna down to Kilinochchi. The first day we got caught to rain, we were drenched, tired.
Wow.
And we went into this place and I saw the menu and it said rabbit kottu, duck kottu, beef kottu, something. And this was like after 2 weeks of not having beef. So I didn't even think twice of like to try the other stuff. But I was like, I'll have beef kottu. It was so
Biryani.
good. Beef biryani.
Right.
Yeah.
Had it. It was amazing. And then the next day a guy said, dude, how on earth did you get beef in Kilinochchi? It's a Hindu town.
Right.
And I was like, oh,
This place
I
has
had no
rabbit.
idea.
That guy is probably close up shop. Oh man!
That's not my menu. No.
Yeah. That was the best street food biryani I
Right.
had
In Kirinochi.
in Kilinochchi.
So random. But see, those are the kind of things that you just find. You don't expect to find
Obviously,
the
it
best.
varies, obviously,
Yeah,
with each
maybe.
person's experience.
Correct.
And the one in Ampara was awesome.
Yeah, we had a nice one in Ampara.
That's the one I
but-
said that a guy said we want to take you to have the best
Oh, right.
dum biryani.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
And
came-
that was a chicken biryani.
Yes.
Yes, it was.
Right.
It was very interesting too, actually. Very different preparation. Haven't really seen that
Yeah.
in Colombo.
I mean,
We really now have to go there.
the delicacy. I mean,
Oh.
the preparation of food around this country is
Yeah.
just amazing.
Phenomenal. Really.
Amazing.
You know, I firmly believe that some chickens have actually sacrificed themselves. They say, we die. එහෙම කරපු උමුත් ඉන්නේ.
AFC.
Okay, but biggest question, how much support do you get from the local authorities to do the work you do?
So,
Minimal support.
yeah, I mean,
I would say that we have started of our own accord and we have continued of our own accord, and so like for the most part everything we have done has been funded by ourselves, and then
Yeah.
we also have the support of like sponsors who would be like a hotel most of the time.
Right.
You'd be
subcontracted work that sometimes
Right.
gets
Yeah.
featured on
Yeah.
tourist board, things
What
like
we-
that.
yeah.
But they wouldn't mind getting the benefits out of this.
Of course, I mean that's what
Possibly, yeah.
that's what we're hoping
Yeah.
would happen.
Yeah.
But you know,
It would be really ideal for the tourist board, I would say, to kind of use the exposure, the platform that they have, to just shine or to get this project, I guess, a bit more awareness.
Absolutely.
That
Yeah.
I think that would be all that would be necessary. But in general, no, we have not
yeah,
really
we
worked.
never
No, because
not
that's
today.
brilliant for them because
Yeah.
no
I mean-
outlay but
Yeah.
maximum exposure.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, so this is something else that we need to
And-
talk about, you know. going
And as you
forward.
said, you know, it's about that. It's actually a personal experience. It's not
Yeah.
like the tourist board hired someone and said, "Hey, go make a video saying showing that Sri Lanka is safe."
Absolutely.
This is here, two people, Sri Lankans,
Absolutely.
on the road during what is supposedly the toughest economic time in the country.
That's true.
And anyway,
On two
yeah.
bikes.
Yeah. And that
Right.
kind of passion is not for sale. You know?
Exactly.
You can't really tell someone, you know what, this is what we want you to do, go and do it. You're
Yeah,
not going
it's
to do
not
it.
gonna
No,
come
no
out.
way.
You've got to
No
find
way.
out
Yeah.
who's doing it.
Who wants
Exactly.
to do
Yeah,
it.
who
Yeah.
wants to do it, and then, you know, kind of latch
Yeah.
on to them.
Yeah.
But I just want to ask, how friendly or unfriendly were the people in different places?
Oh man, that is
So
honestly.
it's such a special thing because when
Yeah.
we left, we had people who were like, "Be careful. It's
Yeah.
a very tough time.
Absolutely.
Take a knife with you.
Take a knife
Right.
with
Take a
you.
knife.
Like
Wow.
you know, you have some kind of protection.
Yeah.
Call the police station
Yeah.
in every city. let them
When
know
you
that
enter
they're,
every
like-
town, just notify the police, and like
Right.
you know, we also didn't didn't know what the situation was like out of Colombo. So
absolutely.
we tended to think like we left with a bit of like anxiety and a bit of doubt and all of that, like I say in the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
And what we noticed was as we went, people have this look on their face when they see you. They're like, what are these people doing? You know, they're wearing these helmets with these pointy things on top and these bags on their bicycle.
Right. And they're locals.
And they're all locals, but that look that they give you is very scary, right?
Yeah.
And
what I meant was they looked at you and they said they are locals.
Yeah.
And they're
Oh,
doing
they don't know.
They do it asterisks and obliques number.
Yeah, they're crazy, right? You know, they're not even white. Why are they doing this?
Yeah.
But when you smile at them, the smile that they give you just changes everything. I smile at so many people in the morning, and that's one of my favorite things that I look forward to getting on my bike and cycling. Is just to cycle and just smile at random people, and they're like, "Oh yes, hello." And the mornings is really great because you have school, like kids getting ready for school, right? So while they're cycling, you have these girls, and I'm like, "Good morning," and they're like, "Good morning." So we say good morning to like so many between like I think about 6 and 8. We say good morning to all the kids that we pass by. They are very excited to see us.
Yeah. You meet that one person who's like hates the mornings and tries to murder the people who are chirpy in the morning.
There were a few people we smiled at.
You find them only in Colombo.
Yeah, definitely.
In corporates.
No, my wife, I get up with
But we did, smile and have a few smiles not returned, which is casual and completely fine because I'm sure they also must be trying to process
what just happened.
What is happening?
Nobody just smiles around.
This is suspicious. But
we don't have enough water to wash ourselves with. What are you smiling?
I don't think that's the thing. I don't think that was the mentality anywhere because for many of the people in the rural areas that we met, life is quite normal for them because yes, the things like gas and all is hard to get.
Chicken
so they have
is
just switched over to wood fire.
Right.
They have switched over to growing their own food. They have switched over from going out into sea to still fishing or fishing off the rocks. So their family consumes that. They will sell the other things locally. They're like, oh, we have a kosgaha, we have our jackfruit tree and we have our breadfruit tree. Each takes turns.
That's the thing. I mean, in terms of this economic crisis that we're going through, it's only affecting the cities.
Correct.
Because the towns and the villages will definitely go on. They didn't need all this.
They didn't. They're actually kind of laughing at us because they're like, oh, you city folks.
Absolutely.
We have rice like next door.
Their paddies next door.
Yeah. But do you know what happened to all our jet trees? Don't have all this down here. You're sitting.
Okay, Anu, thanks. We got about 10 more minutes to go on the show.
Oh, wow.
I know.
That goes by really fast.
It really does. It really does.
Wait a minute. I had the more important questions.
Sorry.
For one thing, okay. How on earth did you manage with the limited clothes that you took with you?
Yeah.
Because were you washing every night and drying? Okay.
Yes.
Not every night.
Okay.
Not every night.
So we were partnered with a group of hotels.
Oh, right, okay.
And so we had also organized with them saying, hey, when we get here, we need
to do laundry.
Right.
So we had fresh clothes like maybe about 3 or 4 times in the whole trip. So we were able to manage. Because most of the day we cycle and we are in our cycling clothes.
Right.
And then when we stop for 3 or 4 days, we just kind of it's so good because I notice as a girl, I have a lot of these decisions to make when I have to pick something to wear in the morning. And I notice that when I wake up in the morning, I wear my cycling kit. And when I come back, I have something to sleep in. And then in the morning, what am I going? I have a pair of shorts and t-shirts for my just daily thing, and if I need to be covered to go into a village or something, I have a skirt and a top and that's basically all I have. I had one dress to look fancy at the hotels in case I needed to. And I was like, wow, this is so much simpler. Came home to my cupboard at home and I was like, good God.
what do I wear?
And I realized it is in fact very true that when you minimize the amount of decisions you have to make in terms of wearing clothes, i.e. you have your pants and your shirt and maybe some different colors in there, and you're like, this is my look, I'm gonna go with it. it makes your life so much easier.
Right.
Mentally, you are
Yeah.
able to do so much more because you haven't like exhausted yourself.
Choice is the enemy.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
There is the better.
Do you want to give props to the hotel chain that you were with? You can buy
Oh
one,
yeah,
you can-
definitely.
Yes.
Jet, I mean, especially in a time like this, Jetwing Hotels was our main partner.
Right.
Of course, there were others like Ugas, Teams. I mean, we work with a lot of the people in the
Right.
industry anyways.
Right.
So when we told people we were doing this, obviously everyone was finding it very hard to sort of finance this for us because
Okay.
of the situation.
Yeah.
But Jetwing came forward and, we're
They've been a
really...
real pillar of support.
Yeah.
Don Carol's wasn't involved.
No.
we didn't approach them.
Jerome asked this question. Sri Lanka has received a lot of attention in recent months as a result of the country's numerous economic and political problems. Nonetheless, many people visit Sri Lanka for vacation or business. How safe is Sri Lanka? So I think that goes back to what we were talking about. Yeah?
I think it is far safer than majority of the countries these Western folk come from.
Yeah.
In our honest, humble opinion.
But is it as safe for a female foreign tourist, for instance?
I think very honestly, as a solo traveler, it's hard for me to say anything about the topic because I haven't solo traveled Sri Lanka. Like
Right.
I've always
Yeah.
traveled with Sheehan. So I don't want to speak for that, but I will just say that there are a few moments on our cycling trip where I would fall back when I'm tired and Sheehan will be in front of me.
Right.
So the first people who come on to me and see me would think I'm cycling alone.
Right.
That said, I didn't have any problems whatsoever riding through towns and cities or anywhere where I had been catcalled or made to feel uncomfortable. Just once, two men came on a bike and was asking me questions and like, are you married and stuff like that. But then they met Sheehan and then they were like, anyway, you can come to our house for a cup of tea. So that was just one out
You
of
probably feel
house.
sorry for Shreya.
Yeah. So I mean, it was in that sense it was safe for me as a female. I felt, but of course it's not a
blanket statement.
blanket
Yeah, that's
statement.
But
right.
anywhere in Asia for a female solo traveler, there are different things that you need to be concerned
that's true.
about.
But as a foreign traveler, I have to say that you will definitely be like in good hands because I feel like the Sri Lankans know how important tourism is to Sri Lanka.
Now especially.
Now
yeah.
especially. And then we also have this ingrained in us that we have this hospitality for people that come into our country, like how we would treat when someone comes to a house, you offer a drink. You do. Those things extend to foreigners, I think, even
And that's
more.
actually subliminal.
Subliminal.
You don't even plan to do it,
There is
or we don't
nothing-
think about doing it,
yeah.
it just happens.
It's
like
our USP, honestly.
Yeah.
We shouldn't promote anything else. We
It's
should
just the
promote our
people that you need to promote.
That's what
like,
it is.
that's our main selling point is how our people are still so good and generous and kind.
Absolutely.
Even though they've been through so many.
That's actually true, that because we haven't changed as a nation and a nationality and a people. We really haven't changed.
Yeah.
We just need to dial back on Medi Khawan. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
yeah.
this whole trip, we were invited
To come and have tea.
to come and have either tea or drinks or stay at their houses at least 20 times.
Once by.
And did you take them up on it?
Yeah, there were, we stay for free at some person's house in Batiklo. Some guy who's following us from
Actually, yeah.
Canada,
Yeah.
who has a
Right.
home in Batiklo.
Yeah.
He offered us his house. Some people took us out like for biryani.
Yeah, when we came to their
teas.
town for biryani and tea, and they were like fighting, saying, "No, you can't pay, you can't pay." And we had to
Amazing.
fight to pay. And of course, a tractor driver with like a bunch of people on his tractor came and he stopped by while we were stopped on the side of the road, and he's like, "Where are you going? Where are you coming from?" "All the way from Colombo." Wow, it's a lot of respect you get when they know you're cycling around the country.
Correct.
We of course tell them. We are on electric,
Yeah.
we are not that, like, you don't give us the respect we don't deserve.
Dial back the respect.
They're like, no, still, it's great. And then anyway, they're like, come over to our house for a cup of tea. No,
Sure.
it's fine, don't worry, just,
And
little
what was the language being used?
Sinhala.
Mostly?
No,
Mostly,
Tamil.
Yeah.
in the north and east, Tamil. But the funny thing is, even when we stopped in Mullathio, first of all, they were shocked to see us.
Yeah.
They were like, Sinhala? Singular. Singular, yeah, singular. And then afterwards, they'll still try to communicate. So at this kottu shop, we sat and we were talking to like 3 guys in the shop. They didn't speak Sinhala, and we didn't speak Tamil, but we had a full-blown conversation.
Yeah.
We managed to explain to him that we're cycling around the country on electric bikes. He wanted to know how much it costs and where we're going next. And
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
That's the
amazing.
quality of the herb that you consume.
Yeah.
That also happens.
Has there been, I mean, obviously this is something that we need to also talk about. Was there ever a meltdown
Oh, yeah.
between the both of you guys?
And it's an amazing race.
Yeah.
no full-on meltdowns, just like partial, like.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be with you anymore.
No, we never had like arguments about doing it. We both
right.
knew that we needed to like do this thing. There's no point fussing in the morning. Yeah, we'll both complain saying, yeah, we're tired, our bums are hurting, but like we need to go.
Right.
There were no arguments about that. There were arguments about
Or like work, like the way we talk about a certain thing in the video.
yeah, we were
things
fighting.
like that,
We were
like-
fighting. But he'd be like, "So you should say this and this." I was like, "I don't want to say that. I want to say it like this."
Yeah.
So those are the things
But
we want.
again, we've been doing this, like we work full time together all the time.
Right.
So I think we've really understood how we need to cooperate with each other when we're doing something like this. So even I knew, I was like, hey, 43 days.
You know what he said to me? He's like, he cycled up to me one day and he was like, you know what? This is so nice. And I'm like, why? Like, is it because we can like cycle next to each other and talk? And he's like, yeah, that's nice too. But also like when we get like mad at each other, we can just cycle over. And then we can have like a alone time for about half and half, think about what we said to each other.
You know what? I'm going to implement this strategy immediately.
Oh yeah.
Just before we actually do wind up, one quick thing that we need to actually talk about is the fact that you've actually got into the Chinese market. It's a huge deal. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The first content creators in Sri Lanka to actually get into the Chinese market. A huge deal that is. How did you manage that?
So they actually reached out to us, right? Our partners.
Yeah. So there were some people. So the lady is a Sri Lankan, married to a Chinese.
Right.
She studied in China. She has been following our content for some time. And we also anyhow knew that we wanted to repurpose our content, not just Chinese. Like we want to get into Russia. We want to, because we've done the work.
Yeah.
We just need, it's a small process to convert.
It's just plug and play now.
Yeah. So we were anyhow like digging into this with a few institutes to see how we could get this done. But these people came on board and said, hey, look, let's work out a proper contract. You all give it to us, we'll handle everything for you.
Which was much better for us because it's language barriers.
Yeah.
And even
So are
the
they gonna dub it
platform.
or is it subtitles?
It's subtitles at the moment. So we're still like testing out because the formats might not be the same, things like that. But eventually we want to be able to do like specific pieces for that.
Yeah.
They are more than, I mean, as much as we have the travel aspect there, we're also considering the export market.
Right.
So like we want to kind of share the stories of, we anyhow do share stories of Sri Lankan exports. So like cinnamon, tea, rubber.
Makes sense.
So we feel that angle might be better into China.
Right.
More beneficial because there's no one really speaking as at a on the ground Sri Lankan communicating to the Chinese market.
But they don't. Sorry, Anu. They don't have. I mean, they don't have YouTube there.
No,
they don't
none of
have
that.
Facebook.
They have
there.
the Chinese version of it.
How different is it?
It's
very,
quite similar.
very similar.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like I think
they build their software to kind of mimic whatever they are
in some cases,
as long as they can control it.
Yes.
You know, the thing is, what happened to Huawei, right? So immediately, when Google refused to do Huawei, they cleared the platform.
And you
out of thin air.
know, some of those platforms are actually far more evolved than the platforms we use.
Yeah.
Yeah, the algorithms and stuff are phenomenal. And honestly, we also don't know much yet because everything's in Chinese. We just see the views and we're like, oh wow, there are more views coming.
It's still quite like
It's
like small, but we're so excited. We're just
it's a process we built in to make sure that whatever we do. So even this series will go on there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
No, but it's.
Do you have a bloopers reel? I mean, is there?
Of course.
People ask us for this.
Yeah. The thing is, we do everything ourselves. So like edit, film, everything.
I
So
guess we should try.
the effort it
I'm
takes
sure there
to
are lots of off cuts where you're like having. So I think that kind of thing also works.
Yeah.
I mean, especially as the show progresses,
Definitely.
people want to see the. Not only do they want to see the real Sri Lanka, but they also want to see the real you.
Yeah.
But they become invested in it.
So true.
I think we didn't do that in the beginning because in the beginning people didn't know us but they know Sri Lanka,
Yeah,
so
true.
we would tell them about Sri Lanka. But it's changing, like you said.
Right.
now.
Yeah. So we're slowly moving into that, but honestly, we are also still like very structured in our approach. We are not like proper YouTubers where you just like, oh, we're doing this.
Yeah.
Like we are more structured and like we film it in a bit more
I think
cinematic
that's
sort of
One
format.
of the reasons why it works.
Yeah.
It can go on TV so seamlessly
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
of that reason.
By
as
the way,
well.
we are also on national TV in a way.
Oh, yeah. Did everyone hear that? National.
I just had to because you brought it up.
I just wanted to say that we are far from structured on this day.
Yeah, I know, but this is so good.
Oh, structured.
Saw the intro, right?
You saw the intro, right? Sometimes we forget the intro also at the same time.
These kind of disasters happen. Ape blooper reel na live.
Ape showing.
No, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. And also, just keep in mind out to for so many travel shows around the world would love to pick this up because fortunately Sri Lanka gives you the perfect location.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in close proximity, everything's in close proximity to everything else.
Exactly.
I mean, no other country actually
They're
has
really-
this. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
really blessed, when we cycle, we were also at this point where I think a lot of people in Sri Lanka were talking, hey, where are you going to? Where have you applied? That was a conversation when we were doing this, and so we knew we wanted to stay in Sri Lanka, but once we did this trip, we were just like, this is
Because
why
I think
we are
we
going to
get
stay in Sri
kind
Lanka.
of
It's a
lost-
beautiful country.
Of course it is.
Amazing
Yeah.
opportunities. Honestly, amazing opportunities. It's just that we don't.
You just have to see beyond
Exactly.
your
Yeah.
nose.
Yeah,
Exactly.
beyond Colombo, beyond just like the popular hotspots that you go outstation, 1 hour away drive to just have a good time and party, like those places that you rotate between,
Yeah.
that is not Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
True,
There is
I
a whole
completely-
other land and people and the way they live, and sometimes when you're on the East Coast, like thinking, okay, we cycled to the East Coast. I'm like, that is for me was very crazy. Every morning I'd be like, wow, I'm here, and my legs brought me here. I cycled here. That was one. And then when you're there and you see on the daily the people that you ride by, the kind of life that they live, it's very simple. For the most part, they're happy. They are, for the most part, again, living sustainably and sourcing. And of course, there are some areas where it's not like very arid and you can't grow things and things are tougher there.
Right.
But when you cycle and you see most of that for like 42 days, what I came to the realization is that when you look back towards Colombo and the life that we live here in Colombo, it's almost like so...
Chalk and cheese.
Yeah, it's frivolous almost,
Yeah,
right?
right,
The things
right.
that you worry about, like
Right,
how you
right,
dress,
right,
or
right,
like
right.
where or what you would do, like
Where's my cab?
Where's my cab? Oh my God! Like
Why is he not taking card?
yeah, oh my God, this is
What
the
happened
worst.
to the delivery?
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and I'm not saying that in like a condescending way because I have been there. I worry like about what I would wear when I go out here. I get annoyed at my cab driver.
Yeah.
And it's not you, it's the way the
Environment.
city makes
Yeah,
you feel.
that's
But when you
right.
pull yourself out of it, you realize there are far more important things that are currently what you think are not important, first
And
of
far
all.
more beautiful things in life.
Yeah,
really.
and if you can just pull yourself out of this like madness which is city life, you get to see why Sri Lanka is worth staying back
Back for, yeah.
and like doing something for, like
Right.
you don't
Yeah.
want to leave this place. You have been blessed to be born here. People are dying to come and get
True.
passports. Foreigners, of course, they have a lot of money and stuff, and it's great
But,
value here.
Let me ask you the $1 million question. Bathrooms, how did you all handle it?
Oh, we have a very interesting story for that one. So my number one tip for girls is that when you're traveling around the island, keep an eye out for like Cargill's or like a Keel's kind of food city or whatever. You can usually bet on a good toilet there.
Right.
If not, is rest houses and guest houses. And if you're in areas, are you looking at me
Yeah,
like?
where do you see what you say?
And if you're in areas where you're like cycling through
Just jungle.
50 kilometers of jungle and there's nothing to do and nobody around, where you have your answer right there.
Absolutely.
Just find a nice bush.
We're also campers, so we're kind of used to this.
Right,
anyway,
right.
so-
I feel like I've been on like so many videos and interviews and just told people that yes, it's a bush and
You
toilet
do realize
paper.
that there are posters of the both of you.
I mean, when you have to go, you have to go,
Yeah.
right?
That's
What is it?
Yeah.
Mondo
So
too.
yes.
But to actually answer that question from a tourist point of view, that is a big problem.
It is a problem.
So
Sri Lankans might be used to, roughing it out, but tourists, I think that's one of the biggest no-nos.
Yeah.
That is
and you
definitely
can't have
something.
like mass amounts of tourists like resorting to that. Like that's like a. It's not like you
absolutely.
plan like to have your.
Just imagine the situation in the country.
Yeah, we don't need that. But in an emergency situation, that would be. But most often than not, we do ride into a town quick enough that you can,
hotels
hotels.
You plan how much water you take.
Yeah, absolutely.
But really,
it's doable.
One thing I notice is that when it's really hot and you're cycling and your body is heated up and you're sweating and you're drinking, the water is just disappearing.
Yeah.
At that time, no matter how much water you drink, you're not going to need to go to the toilet because your body is just like
absorbing
all of it in. Which actually brings me to one of the first questions you asked. You said some of the things that made it difficult, the weather and all. The 2 days that it was raining, which was somewhere in the Mullatiu area, was my favorite time to ride because that morning it was like just gloomy and it was a slow drizzle that just continued, and we rode without electric in the beginning and with later on, and it was a beautiful ride, so peaceful and calm, just the sound of the rain and nobody else much on the road, and some like amazing roads that you drive by. It was a bit cold, but one of my favorite experiences for sure. When will anyone ever get to cycle in the rain through the middle of like some random place in Sri Lanka?
And no one around.
And nobody around.
Amazing.
And that's one of the things that tourists can have, these very isolated, secluded experiences. When you're an adventure tourist, is so much in Sri Lanka that can be done.
What was the range on each bike? I mean, per charge?
40
I would
kilometers.
say 50.
40 to 50.
With the
weight.
assist.
With the weight that we had also, our bikes were super heavy.
We took our bags off and rode it for 1 or 2 rides, and we were like, wow, there's way more battery now.
All right, I think we're almost done with the show. We have to get into the poll. That's right, the answers of the poll. Lots of answers have actually come in, and we need to take a break now. I will do that. Just in case. I don't know where Anu is today on the show. We'll take a break and we'll be back right after this.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Tug it. Discover your Daraz.
A meal isn't just food. It's hope, nourishment, and love. And right now, we need it all. Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need. Send preset ration packs on Uber Eats, and we will match every donation and deliver it with love.
Right, we are back, and today's poll was an interesting one, considering the amount of information we have gained from Sheehan and Shenelle. I think it's even more interesting. So this was it. Would a travel video inspire you to travel to that destination? Yes or no answers only, and you were supposed to WhatsApp your answers to our hotline number 07766915910.
Before we actually give the answer, Sheehan, you wanted to say something on the poll, or you wanted to give your idea, or
for an idea for a poll? Or
no, in the sense that the reason we're doing what we're doing is because we were inspired by one of these videos.
Right.
I would think it should be a yes.
All right, let's check it out.
I'm interested.
73% say a travel video would inspire them to travel to that destination.
This is great. This is great information for us.
Yep. And we have so many people actually watching us on TV right now.
Especially if it's done right,
Yeah, that's right. And just before we do go, guys, one final question really want to ask you during the segment. Was there one place that the both of you discovered in your ride around Sri Lanka that's actually, you'll never forget in Sri Lanka? It's like, where has this been all my life sort of feeling?
Absolutely. Like, was it a sunrise or a sunset or anything?
So for
me,
for me, a place was Delph Island.
Oh, right.
Oh,
Wow. I mean, there were some shots you could see
the horses,
the wild horses, right? And then the terrain, like, I haven't been to the outback, but I've seen shots of the outback, and it looked just like that. Like, just beautiful, untouched land with a very different vibe to like anything else you've seen around the country. Where this answer for us always changes. Every trip we go, we see something new, and we're
Right,
just
of
like,
course,
wow.
it should, yeah.
But yeah, Delft Island on this trip was just phenomenal for me.
What about you, Shenelle?
I think for me, it's not one place.
Right.
It's just that the experience of riding through these places, you come into tiny pockets.
Yeah.
You're suddenly riding through a place that you're like, oh, okay, a city, I pass, okay, it's normal. You know, I've seen this kind of paddy field here, paddy field there. Cool, I've seen this, nice, but I've seen it. Suddenly you're just coming into this pocket of this beautiful area with trees arching overhead and just like a magical fairy forest or something. You go through it and then you're back out again, and it looks like regular Sri Lankan roads, and then you just keep weaving in and out of places like that. And the scary thing is that you drive past most of these places.
Yeah, and you don't notice.
You don't notice them because
Right.
they are just tiny pockets that you would just cross in 5 seconds in a vehicle.
Right, right.
So that has been one of the things that definitely just told me that is Sri Lanka as a whole is just like a place like that, and there's so many pockets to discover and find.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for having us. You know, we could talk forever, like you said.
Clearly, this is unfortunate. We only given 1 hour.
I know.
They shut us down after 1 hour. I don't know if you're still on air though.
This is why you guys should get on YouTube.
yeah. Anyway, thank you so much, guys, for being on the
Thanks,
show. We wish you all the very best
Thank
for
you
the
very much.
many more This is Sri Lanka rides in the future.
Thank you.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have you back on the show once again.
Yeah, and a lot
Thanks
more
a lot.
adventures, you know.
Oh yeah.
And you guys
For
can
sure.
join us maybe for one cycle around.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Look at that over there. Look at that over there. We should do that. We sit back every
You know what my
destination.
weight is going to be? My entire bathroom. Makeup, plumbing system. Let's do it.
Alright, thank you so much, guys. As always, it was an absolute pleasure with our guests. We'll be back once again tomorrow night with another very special guest right here on Sitback. Till then, have yourself a great night.
You'll see our national opinion on the national channel.
Good night.
Take care, bye-bye.
Good night.
Powered by
Discover your Daraz.
Presenting Love Uber Eats, a platform to donate essential items to those in need.